So the assignment is to analyze occupational therapy's role relative to other disciplines in emerging practice areas. And our group is doing assistive technology. So we want to thank you for giving us some of your time so we can talk to you about that. Um,
Sure.
can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and the role you play at the VA in relation to 3D printing and assistive technology?
Sure. So, my name's Alyssa Welch. I am a certified therapeutic recreation specialist by trade. So I've been doing that about 25 years. And about two years ago, I had the opportunity to get involved in our innovation team. So it wasn't necessarily focused on 3D printing at the time. It was just about, you know, seeing frontline employees, what they had to say about different things that maybe we could do differently, maybe things that we could incorporate from the outside world. That's how we refer to everything non-VA, and just kind of see what maybe we thought would be helpful to our veterans. And so, in the course of being a part of that group, an opportunity came up to be involved in a spread, we call it, from another VA. So basically, another VA had started a project and then they wanted to share it with other VAs. And so we wanted to be a part of their sharing, and it involved 3D printing. And so we ended up with a 3D printer, some software, and a laptop, and nobody that knew how to use any of it, but I had an interest in it. And so that's kind of how I fell into all of this. I'm kind of basically self-taught. They sent several of us that were interested in the project from various VAs to a 3-day workshop to learn about how to use our machines, to actually give us some of our equipment, and then they shipped some equipment to us. But so I kind of got thrown in, and just it was a sink or swim type of situation. And so I just started teaching myself, and I started telling other people, hey, do you know we have 3D printers and we can do some stuff? And so it just kind of evolved from there. So I hope that kind of answers the background question, I think.
My second question is about some pieces of assistive technology that you've been working on. Because during my VA rotation, I remember that you gave me a piece of equipment that you designed and printed that was used
Yeah.
to extend bedside urinals.
Yeah, that's the John one. Catchy name,
Yes,
huh? The
yes.
John one. Yes. So let's see. I think I have one of those. Yeah, here we go. Voila, the John one helps you use your bedside urinal. Okay. Yeah. So recreation therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, whole health. There's kind of several disciplines, and we all kind of overlap in different ways, in different areas. And so, even though I might not be working on someone's fine motor skills as far as doing exercises and strengthening things with them, I might be helping with their fine motor skills by providing them with some art projects to work on, some things to do which require fine motor skills. So, I try to get with occupational therapy, physical therapy, anybody who's interested in producing adaptive equipment for our veterans. This is an example for holding writing instruments. You could do colored pencils, regular pencils, pen. I don't have a screw in it at the moment, but you would screw that, and then that way someone who didn't grip very well could still write or color or whatever. We did have a guy used one of these. And in a similar manner, I'm sure you guys have maybe either seen or used a tennis ball and poked a hole through it and put a pen or a pencil through it to help somebody who can't grip very well. Similar idea, we just 3D printed that, and we're able to, it's a similar idea. We had a hole and a screw so that the pencil could be adjusted at different lengths, or it could accommodate different size pencils without losing its grip. And after a while, a tennis ball doesn't really hold a pencil in place anymore if you put a big old fat marker through it. So just some other ways of making adaptive things. I've printed iPad holders that go on an IV pole, so that we've used it in a couple different ways. We've used it with video chats. That's one of the tasks that our department took on, was to, with social isolation, we took on video chatting our veterans and their families. And so when I 3D printed the iPad holder, then that enabled us to get it situated in front of a bed or a jerry chair or a wheelchair, some of the things like that. But we've also used it to take some of our patients to places where they physically can't go. So in the past, I guess it was 2 years ago, I used this same iPad IV pole idea and took one of our veterans who's bedbound with ALS. He won our creative arts festival here at the local level, and then he won at the national level with his artwork that he did using an eye gaze. I'm sure y'all are probably familiar with that type of software. And so he was super, super excited. They were having the national festival up in Michigan. I think it was in Michigan, near Battlefield or somewhere like that. And so he wanted to go really badly, but of course he physically couldn't go. And so I used this iPad holder system and took him virtually. So we did Facebook Live, that type of stuff, so he could see everything that was going on. He could talk, he couldn't speak, but he could use his eye gaze to type out and respond to people who spoke to him at the festival. So it was really not like he was there, but like he was there in a way, as best we could. Trying to think of some other ways, because I've already forgotten your question of assistive technology that I've made, I think. Sorry.
Yeah, it's about the AT you've been working on. Those are
Okay, yeah. What else have we been up to? I've made utensil holders for different people. I've made, what else? I don't know, I made lots of things and I give them away and then I forget what I've made because I give them to people.
How often are you making pieces of equipment for people and giving them out?
Not as often as I would like. We still don't really have a formal, I don't guess, relationship with our physical medicine and rehabilitation service. It's called PM&RS. And so they are our speech and language therapists, occupational therapists, physical therapists. And I think on one of our different outpatient units, they also have a kinesiotherapist. And I've made presentations to tell them what we can do, how we can do it, that we can make it very personalized. And there just really doesn't seem like there's been a lot of buy-in from that department. And I can present the information. I can't make people want to use it. I did have one of our therapists who asked me to make a hook. It's not really a hook, but anyway, it's so several of our guys have motorized wheelchairs, and they have pretty heavy foot pedals on them. And so she asked if I could make I call it Haley's hook, because Haley's the therapist that asked me to make it. But basically a handle with a midsection, and then basically kind of in a way a hook, so that the veteran could lean down, and if I can get far enough, bye crazy. Yeah, so a veteran could lean down and hook the end of that wheelchair pedal and pull it up out of his way or push it back down if he wanted to. I don't have one in here because I gave Haley all of them that I made. But I 3D printed the handle and I 3D printed the hook, and then I put it on a 1/2-inch PVC pipe. That was probably about, I don't know, about that long. So that's like the most recent thing that I've done for PM&RS. Again, I mean, I'd love to do more stuff, but it's a matter of, getting requests and people asking me to do things.
When it comes to choosing and providing assistive technology, would you say it's typically a group effort with the interdisciplinary team, or more of an individualized thing?
I think it should be. I mean, ideally, I think that if you've really got a group of people who are looking into the best interest of their patient, then I think, yes, it would be, like, what are all the different things that we as a group can think of that we could do to enhance this person's quality of life and improve their health? And, let's brainstorm that instead of just relying on, somebody to come up with that out of the blue or someone to be responsible for that. Does it happen that way around here? No, it's not a best practice yet. But I think that it should be, and I think that that's the reason that we have interdisciplinary teams, is because everybody brings something important to the table, and not necessarily just within your discipline. I mean, if I only brought recreation therapy things to the table, then I would be limiting some of the ideas of what we can do for our patients. So I think everybody is a subject matter expert in their area, or I hope they are to some degree, but also everybody has different interests and different skills and abilities and talents. And that's one of the things that I think makes an interdisciplinary team work the best, when you let people bring all that to the table with them and say, well, I'm not an engineer, but I've been reading these articles, or I've had this experience with this and this and this, and maybe this is an option that we can look into that would really benefit our patient. And someone else might have said, oh, well, I never would have thought about that, or oh, I didn't read that. So when you let people bring their ideas and their imagination and the possibilities along with them, I think it only enhances the group effort in taking care of a patient.
And how do you think that we can increase the buy-in, if not there specifically at the VA, but say for my class, if I show them this interview, how can we increase their buy-in for using technology? And
Wow. To be honest, I'm not really sure, but I think if people see things, see that there's possibilities out there. I think if also you tell people it's okay to think outside the box, and I think that's done a lot more, nowadays. But I think that when we give people permission to be creative, or to come up with some problem solving that's not normal or atypical, solution that you can find in a textbook or something. I think when we give people permission to do those types of things, we increase the buy-in, because we're saying, I think you might have really good ideas. I think that you can bring your experiences, your imagination, and your creativity to the table, and we like that. But I think we're so used to having an expectation for people to do things a certain way, or that's not in your lane. That's not something that, that's not your skill set. So we're going to ignore what you have to say about it. I think when you let people know that you value their opinion and you want them to be a part of creatively coming up with solutions that will benefit the quality of life and health benefits for a patient, then I think that's where the buy-in comes in. I did get to make something for the VA in the Caribbean and send it away to the VA Caribbean. So that's kind of neat.
whoa, what was that?
So they had seen in a video chat that I had done with someone else. They saw the IV pole iPad holder thing that I made, and they wanted one. And instead of for them to try and find someone to 3D print it for them, if I sent them the files, I just 3D printed the whole thing and put part of it together, and then mailed all the pieces and parts to them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, so that's all my questions, but if there's anything else that you want to share or show us, then the floor is yours.
I don't have a lot to show. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I mean, I could send you some pictures. I have tons and tons of pictures of things that I make. But like I said, I usually make them for a specific purpose, and then I give them away. But I was going to say that I am not a genius type person. I mean, I've always been kind of a DIY, fix it, kind of one of those jack of all trades kind of people. And I don't know who will hear this or who will see it, or whether you'll repeat any of this or not, but getting into, I'm about to turn 51. Okay. Just FYI. And so at the end of my 40s is when I was introduced to 3D printing. So if somebody born in 1970, okay, can get into and understand and learn how to 3D print, it's not rocket science. Okay, so other people can get involved in it and do it. I know that there's some VAs who do 3D printing for splints. There's some VAs that do 3D printing for dental. There's some VAs that use 3D printing in different areas than we do. But I think it's always great to be open to learning new things, trying new things, and even stepping out of your comfort zone. That's what I've had to do quite a bit to teach myself how to use some of this equipment and do some of these things. So I think that probably people that are your age and in your class, and you may have some non-traditional students, I don't know, that are older, but I think that you guys are already kind of tech savvy to begin with. And so it shouldn't be a really hard transition to think about all of the exciting assistive technology and things that are emerging. But I think part of it is to allow yourself to get involved in those things, even if it may not be your specialty area. Um, so
I'm
just
really glad
something
that you said that. Yeah. I wish I would have asked a question about that. So I'm so glad that you,
about what?
well, just about how hard it was to learn it, because that is something that I wanted to make a point of to the class, is that it may sound intimidating, but it's,
And to be honest, I mean, it's not been, I mean, I didn't pick it up, just like that or anything, but I think it's something that if you just kind of persevere and stick to it. I mean, I've had a lot of help along the way. Like yesterday, y'all are at UCA, right?
yes.
Yeah, yesterday, Jason, I can't think of his last name, but from the
And
Makerspace, the conductor. Yeah, you guys, are y'all familiar with him?
yes.
Oh, he's a great guy, great guy. So he was here yesterday and he was actually helping me by teaching me a few tricks that I didn't know on AutoCAD, Fusion 360. So computer automated drafting software. And so, different software and things is how you can design, make your own designs. I mean, there's lots of 3D printing files that you can download, things that people have already created. And you can even take files that people have already made and kind of tweak them for your own needs or to kind of change them a little bit. But also being able to create your own designs is nice too, so that you can kind of use your imagination, or maybe you see something a little differently and you want to try your own way of having it printed or something. So, I've had a lot of help like Jason and other people who will come along. Matthew Bemis is a former OT student. I think he's working on his master's degree maybe or something. He's moving ahead. You guys know him?
Yes, we know him.
Yeah. He's been great to come up, and he's worked here in the lab with me some, and he's even tried to help me learn how to do some 3D scanning. So, collaboration is always a good thing too. I know people say that a lot. "Oh, there's no I in team," and it's true. But collaborating with people and not being afraid to say, "I don't know how. Can you help me?" is probably one of the best things that you'll ever learn how to do, because you're not going to know everything. And if you're so prideful that you can't ask for help or you can't admit that you don't know everything, you're going to stay stumped, for a long time. And that's not going to benefit a patient. It's not going to benefit your practice. It's not going to benefit where you work for if you won't do something because you don't know how to do it and you won't be a good team player. So you got to learn how to play nice with people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so learning to collaborate and ask people for help and that kind of thing has really been an asset to picking up on how to do a lot of these things too.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, I hope whatever I had to say answered the questions, was helpful. I'm not sure. So
That was perfect. You did great.
uh,
You answered.
so I think as the VA is opening up a little more, I'd love to have you guys if you want to come and check out our innovation space sometime, or if you want. Well, you can get things printed, I'm sure, at the conductor. But anyway, if you've got ideas and want to try something to get it printed or those types of things, I'm always game for that. So
Awesome.